The other week I was cleaning my room because fun fact about me is I got rid of one of my bookshelves because ain't nobody need 3 bookshelves, and it was really not good for me to have that many bookshelves and have that many books. So while I was cleaning out that bookshelf and taking everything off and kind of rearranging things, I found these old notebooks which I had been saving for a while. Like I've had these for like a very long time, and these are just old writings that I used to do. I would just write a book and it was just a thing. So I thought it'd be really funny for this video to go back and to read these terrible stories that I wrote back in the day. These books aren't really recent things that I've done. I think they're from like my elementary school days. So if you'd like to see a video of me reading like projects that I wrote like 3 or 4 years ago that were like actual full-length novels, let me know. It'd be something I'd be down to do. The first thing that I have to read to you today is a story that I wrote when I was probably in like 3rd grade. To explain this story, which is only 1 page front and back, it's called Diary of a Pig, and it was just gonna detail this pig's journey, and it was gonna be so incredible. Chapter 1 is called Caleb and a Friend. So I did, in fact, fanfic myself as a pig, if you were wondering. First sentence really grabs you by the throat. It just says, Caleb is a pig. Caleb has a big imagination. So one day when he went on a walk and he saw a cow, she was very nice and we became friends, so we went to the park and had fun. There's like 10 exclamation points because I wanted to make it like very clear, like we had fun when we were there, like so much fun. What kind of fun? I don't know. I never really thought that that was important. And also I just love how in the middle of this it switches from 3rd person to just straight 1st person. We're already to chapter 2. I know that chapter 1 contained 2 thrilling sentences, but chapter 2 is called The Park. Who's intrigued? I know I sure am. So when they were at the park, they were having a lot of fun, and then they went on a walk and they saw a beach, and then they were on an island, and there's like a million exclamation points and question marks because it was like, what? They were at the park and now they're on an island? What the heck? We are stuck on an island, said Caleb. And fun fact about that, there are no quotation marks. The cow tried to go in the water, and right away she sank. So Caleb tried to go under, and he did, but guess what? He sank too, and he could breathe underwater. Okay, so to sum you up, this pig met a cow and they went to the park, and then they walked away from the park and found an island, and then they went in the water and now they're stinking. Thrilling stuff, am I right? So they were floating in the water and they figure out that they can breathe under the water, okay? They went in a cave and they saw a dragon. She said, hello, what are you doing? She asked. Oh, we're looking for something. What? A scroll thing. Oh, the scroll of wisdom? Yeah, so they went on a journey to find the scroll of wisdom. What the frick is that? What I literally think happened is like I started writing this in like 2nd grade, and then school ended or something, and then I didn't touch this, and then 3rd grade came around, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna continue this. And also, I think the funny thing is this is around the time when I had started to read Harry Potter, so I think that like in the beginning it was just like these pigs going on a journey, and he met a cow and a dragon, and then like you can tell that like I read Harry Potter and I was like, oh wow, magic. And so now we're looking for a scroll of wisdom, but I never actually thought it was important to mention what that was or why they were looking for it in the first place, but we just out here looking for the scroll of wisdom. And surprisingly, I feel like this is exactly how Handbook for Mortals went, because it was like they mentioned something and you're like, okay, what is that exactly? But they never really tell you, and you just kind of gotta try to figure it out. So yeah, yikes. So they went on a journey to find the scroll of wisdom. So then they went on and saw a lot of sea creature. And we looked everywhere and couldn't find it anywhere. And that was all I wrote for Diary of a Pig. They never found it. They couldn't find it anywhere. I don't know if I plan to continue that. I genuinely don't remember my intentions with that story. But I do remember something about this. And it's that this story evolved into another book that I had written, which is lost forever. I don't know where it is, but it's gone forever, and rest in peace. But this evolved from A Diary of a Pig to me writing a story called A Pig's Journey about a pig who wasn't a fanfic version of myself. It was a pig named Gilbert, and he like met this baby wolf, and like the whole thing was that it was like they can't be friends because like the wolf is like gonna kill the pig, which is surprisingly dark. But like then they became best friends and they went on a journey together, and I don't remember what their journey was for, but they went on a journey. And there was like a duck there, and there was like a baby chicken. I don't know, it was really bad. The next thing I have to read to you is this story. I don't know what year this was, but I'm assuming that it was from like maybe 3rd or 4th grade. I don't think I would have been writing this any earlier or later. Like definitely middle of elementary school. So I was like probably 9 or 10 when I wrote this. And this one's called Robot Incorporated. And it says a ghost story right here, but I think the funny thing is that there are no ghosts in the book. And fun fact about me is I dabbled in like scary stories. Like I don't know if y'all remember this stupid series when I was a child called Skeleton Creek, I think it was called. And it was like a thing where like you read a chapter and then they like posted a video on YouTube and you like scanned it and then it took you there and you watched the chapter that you just read. I was in like 4th grade and I was like, I want to write something like that. And like some of this might be plagiarized from any of these works, but don't come for me, I was 9. So this is Robot Incorporated. And fun fact about this story is this is another version of me not realizing that people made up characters. And so whenever I would write, I would just use my own self and like make a fake story because that's what I thought authors did. This is actually one of the longer books that I wrote. I actually finished this, so there should be a complete arc, even though I'm sure it's still gonna be senseless. The first line really grabs you by your throat. It says, I was happy for a while until I woke up and Herod, my mom, say, your little brother has something to say. And he said, camping time, yay, yay, yay. No, I said. Camping time. No. My mom said, camping time. Mom, it's summer vacation. I don't want to go camping. But if your friend comes, then would you come? I guess. Know what I just realized is I misspelled guess in this book. And I misspelled it here. So I think that I literally didn't know how to spell guess until I was in like 5th or 6th grade, which is, I feel like honestly a little bit of time. I spelled it G-U-S-S. Guess what? My writing sucks. To sum up that whole exchange of dialogue, because I didn't feel the need to put quotation marks or space out who was speaking. It's all kind of just one sentence of like, let's go camping. No, okay, we'll go camp. Like, what the frick is going on right now? Fun fact about me is I don't have a little brother, so even though this is some weird fanfic version of my life, I like switched up the details that surrounded me. So like everyone's name is the same, but like the characters are not. It's bad. Okay, your friend can come. Darn, I hate when that happens. Let's get ready. What is going on? We got in the car and I got my journal and I wrote step 1. Boring. Why was it step 1? Is it like a detailed list of how to go camping? Like step 1. Boring. And also, this is not related to the video and I'm so sorry to just pause it like this, but look at my puppy right now. Okay, so we're going camping to sum up this first page. Yikes. 6 hours later, we were here. Wisconsin. Let's go get a site for camping. Oh, not again. Fun fact about me is I also did not know how to spell again until I was in like 5th or 6th grade. And you might be thinking, Caleb, aren't you like an actual writer who like wants to publish books like as your job one day? And you didn't know how to spell again until you were like 11 or 12? Yeah, I know. I spelled it A-G-I-E-N for many years, okay? And I spelled guess as in G-U-S-S. So now I'm going for a hike after we arrive at camping. So we went onto the trail and I saw something strange. A little house with these things on the sides. What are those things? I don't know. I didn't think it was important to let you know what they were, but you know what? Wait, what are those things in the window? Wait, those are people. 3 people. Run! That's literally me when I go to the store and I see somebody I know. People! I gotta go! So I ran all the way back to the campsite and before we got there I fell and found something really weird. I spelled it wrong. Really weird. And then I inserted this picture of a robot and he was falling on the ground and on fire. Let's continue. Okay, we made it to day 2. Wow, wasn't day 1 so exciting? I saw a house and there were people in the window. Which I remember I thought that was like a spooky thing because it was like, oh, you're in the woods and then you see an old abandoned house and then you see a figure pop through the window. Like that's what I was going for. I was not good at conveying my words, so I was just like, there's a house and there's people in it. Big fat yikes. So now we're on to day 2. Well, today is Saturday and I'm so scared. I saw these people and I only took a glimpse of their... Why is the main character, which is me, just scared of seeing people? I only took a glimpse of their faces and they looked like the robot from last night, but then they turned away. And here's the image of them turning away. On to day 2 at 9:30. I found this little paper in a pile of leaves and it gave me the chills. And it's a piece of paper that says robot ink. Which I'm pretty sure if you look close enough, this is literally just Monopoly money that I taped. Like I literally glued in Monopoly money. And to close out this chapter, I say, I will do anything to leave this nightmare. God help me. Oh man, I felt that so bad. God help me. Oh no. So now it's day 2, 5:30 p.m. I can't believe it. My friend is gone. Breeze through this whole story so fast where it's like, oh, by the way, people are missing now. What the frick? It's just like in the bathroom. It's like, he's gone. And it's like, no, he's just taking his time in there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why, but it's just scary. So yeah, it's freaky. Just imagine your best friend disappearing in the middle of the day. Don't comprehend what's going on right now, but it's certainly not that great. So then I wrote step 2, scary and wanna leave. I don't get what the point of that, because obviously like the idea of this book was like, this was gonna be my journal, and so I was gonna be writing like, oh, this is what's happening. But then here it's like I'm writing in my journal, where I'm like, okay, I found my journal and now I'm gonna write in it. Like what? What do you mean you're writing? Is this not your, what is this? Like I don't know what I was writing. Like step 1, boring. Step 2, scary and wanna leave. Like am I writing like a detailed like how to go camping? Step 1, bored. Like step 2, I'm scared. And I'm kind of embarrassed, honestly. I remember thinking that it was really important for your story to have like some comedic relief. So I added day 3 at 12 a.m. It says, I heard a weird noise in my brother's tent and he was watching Star Wars The Clone Wars and he was laughing when people got killed. And then I added this illustration, which I'm pretty sure that I don't know where this came from. I think I got it in some weird like magazine. And then underneath it I said, I was just looking at him and started laughing. Well, imagine your baby brother laughing when people get killed. Just imagine your baby brother laughing when people get killed. What? What is that? Why? Like, oh, my friend went missing in this weird woods and we've seen all these scary robot people, but just imagine your baby brother when people get killed. I hate myself so much right now. And also, I'm just gonna say it right now, this book does get a little bit offensive, just a little bit, but please don't drag me, I was 9. So I'm looking for my friend now. Today I found a pond to swim in, but the problem is, there's a dead body at the bottom. Like I remember thinking that was so scary, like there is a dead body in this river. But I love how I just grace over that detail. If this is just like a, you know what, yeah, there's a dead guy, but And there were a bunch of carvings, like Tom was here, and all that stuff. But the scariest one was in Chinese. Like, you know how like you watch like old cartoons or whatever and it's like these dark temples and there's like ancient writings on them? Like I didn't really understand how that works, so I was just like, Chinese! Like, maybe it's a little bit offensive. Please don't drag me. I was an ignorant 9-year-old. It's not my fault, okay? Chinese writing seemed scary to me. I can't understand it. So I touched the Chinese writing and a tunnel opened up in the pond. And I went in the tunnel and turns out my friend is trapped in a cage. Just like casually, like, yeah, my friend got kidnapped and he's just in a cage in this weird tunnel and there's a dead body in the river, but you know what? It's fine. I was so scared. I tried to free them, but this Chinese guy came out and chased me with the sword. It's like a little bit offensive. Like, why is the only detail about this man is the fact that he's Chinese? I don't know. Please don't subtweet me on Twitter. I was 9 years old and I was just being like, ooh, ancient writings, Chinese, and it was just this man. Well, he's not like a villain, but he was just trying to run a robot company, you know what I mean? So then I pressed the button and then my friend fell out of the cage and now we're trying to escape. Okay, we're getting to the climax of this story. Day 5, 9:30 p.m. So we went in this room and it had lots of robots and they all said Robot Inc. What? What is that? A weird business that has no money, I'm guessing. Who would buy a robot? I remember I thought that was like the funniest line ever, where I was like, I'm sure that's just a stupid business with no money, I'm guessing. Like, you're just a jerk for saying that. So then I asked him about the robot that I had fallen on. Y'all remember that at the first chapter? This is incredible foreshadowing. He said, dead robot. And then I asked him about the 3 men in that house and he said, robots. I asked him what about the guy in the building and he said, guard. This sucks. Then we went on until he answered all the questions. And honestly, I don't know what the answers to those questions were, but he gave us answers. You know what I'm saying? Then we wrap up on day 6 at 9:30 a.m. after this wild roller coaster of a day. You know what I'm saying? He says, then later the next day I had to leave and summer was over. It was some summer, wasn't it? I'm really gonna miss this place. I hope we can come back next year. I've never been that scared ever. I hope I will just calm down. The end. Literally the last line of this book is, I hope I can just calm down. And the funny thing is that on the back, here's my description of the book, okay? It says, when Caleb goes on a camping trip with his family, things go bad. I mean, it's not completely wrong. And then I saw that a lot of books had like a quote, and my quote says, Robot Inc. What's that? Probably just a business with no money, I'm guessing. I really loved that line. It was so funny. And then underneath that, I put a New York Times bestseller. Was it a New York Times bestseller? I don't think so. So next we're gonna move on to another era of my book writing life. Fan fiction. Yikes. So I wrote this story around like 2012. So at this point I was 11 years old. I think I was in like 5th grade, maybe 6th grade. But I went through a stage where I loved the Hunger Games. It was like the beginning of 2012 when the Hunger Games movies had come out and I had just read all of the books before then. But like the way that I went about it, instead of being like, I'm gonna write about Katniss and all her friends, like I'm gonna make up all my own characters, I'm gonna make up my own arena and my own plot, and I'm just gonna write about the Hunger Games because it's really fun, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a cool concept, like fighting to the death. And there were so many possibilities, and like as this cringy 11-year-old, I was like, I want to write about this character being in the Hunger Games and winning and surviving and being the best ever. So that's what I did. Even though the character, his name is not Caleb, unlike our other two, he is basically me, except he has a different name. He's basically Katniss, except if I was Katniss. Yikes! It's called The Arrow. I woke up in the middle of the woods with my bow and arrow on my chest. The arrow my dad gave me. It was the day of the reaping. I needed to get home before it was time to find out the male and female between the ages of 12 and 18 to participate in the 71st annual Hunger Games. Not me, I say aloud. Like this psychopath is just sitting in the woods and he's like, not me. Shut up. We all know it's gonna be you. I ran through the forest and through the barbed wire fences to my district. District 3. I can't be District 12 because it can't be that similar to the Hunger Games. I arrived at our blacksmith shop where I ran into my mom. She yelled, where have you been? Me and Rust, my younger brother, who is 12, now eligible for the games. Not only is the main character somebody who's really good with a bow, but he's also somebody who sneaks outside of the barbed wire fence of his district and has a 12-year-old brother who's scared to getting raped. He's been up all night thinking he's gonna get picked for the games. I quickly respond, I've been hunting for game. Then I pull out my game bag to show the meats I had collected. What the frick? We arrived at the area on stage with a microphone and 2 big clear containers of names folded in the center. Copper, what if I do get picked? Then what? I think it's funny because I remember being like, okay, like Katniss is named after like a plant, Primrose is named after like a weird flower thing, so I was like, what's gonna be like my thing? You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was like District 3, which I don't remember what it was. I think it was like technology, and I think in my interpretation of it, instead of them being just like on computers all day, I thought they were making like electronic things for the Capitol, a lot of blacksmith work, so like the main character's name is Copper, and his little brother's name is Rust. And I remember thinking it was so clever. I remember being like, oh, get it? It's like Copper, cause like, he's like, they're blacksmiths. It's so bad. Everybody seems to be ready when Tira Benson comes out. Welcome, welcome to the 71st Annual Hunger Games. It is now time to select the courageous young man. And I literally took the exact dialogue from the movie and I put it in my own book. I'm like so embarrassed. Like, know how sometimes you read a book and you're like, I feel like this author stole this from another author, and it's like weird and like you can feel the plagiarism a little bit, but like I didn't try to hide it. I just straight up lines of whole dialogue and put it in my own book. Oh, ladies first, she says. A girl named Trisset Parks. If you're wondering what the frick the name Trisset is, here's my I'm 11 and I'm trying to make creative names explanation. Technology, electricity, electricity. Around me are familiar. It's so bad. It's literally so bad. Here I'm just being like, electricity? What about Tristan? Now for the boys. She reaches her hand in and suddenly, I'm so glad it's not Rust. It's a kid named... I forgot about this. I swear that the main character volunteered, but I think that I was like, I can't do that. Like, that was like too much plagiarism for me, which, I mean, I took a whole passage of dialogue and basically copied it into my own book, so I mean, like, too much plagiarism, what's that? This is the best sentence I've ever written in my whole career as a writer, and it says, it's not Rust. I'm so glad. It's a kid named Copper Daniels, ... Me. Yes, it's not my brother. Frick! And it says, Copper Daniels. Your father, his name was Iron Daniels, right? So we have Iron, Copper, and Rust. I get woken up by a bang on the door, and I'm not that surprised to see Tyra, Tegan, and Tristan. Did I really not think it through that every character's name started with the same letter? Probably not. I walk to Tristan, who is jogging around a small marked circle on the floor. I ask her, Tristan, in the games, would you like to be allies? She stops and says, sure. Only if you have good skills. I respond saying, so we will be allies. She laughs and continues around the circle. What kind of scene was that? Will you be my ally? Only if you're skilled. Okay, we're allies. Okay. Like, he never even proved that he's good. Like, he's useless and she doesn't even know that. I don't even know if this is English anymore. I'm skipping it. All you need to know is that he made a friend while at the knife station. He's from District 4. And a girl who's also from District... Screw that. Next. So I finally get to the bow. Not me, I mean Copper. It was me though. It was me. I just changed the name. Get a bow and shoot right at the center of a fake body. A fake body? Why don't you say a target in the shape of a human? I shoot my arrow at a fake body. I grab a knife and strongly throw it at the body and miss completely. The room is silent. And I leave with shame. You remember how in the Hunger Games book and movie, like the interview was like a big deal to like try to like get as many sponsors as possible, and like it's like a big scene, you know, it's like a big deal. Well, I handled that big scene in about a paragraph, and I'll read that for you right now. I have a white tuxedo on and a neon green shirt underneath. All the tributes from 1 and 2 go, then Tristan, then me. Caesar asks me random questions, and they weren't so exciting, just like, what would you do if you won, and things like that. The end. What the frick? We went to bed, and the next day was the games. We needed sleep, even though I don't get any. It's counting down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, blah, blah, blah. Then a pause. I am freaking out at the feeling of what will happen in about 2 seconds, then suddenly... 1. All the tributes run out as fast as they can. I noticed Cayman, who is some random girl we met by training. She's going after the same bow as me. I am about to grab it. She tacks the bow and stabs it into my leg. What? I thought they were allies and she just betrayed. Oh, I forgot about that. This girl, she ended up joining the career pack. Fun fact about her, she's a snake. I grab a pack and run down to the hill where Tristan is standing. Tristan is pretty much crying. But anyway, I got like stabbed in the leg, so now they're gonna put medicine on it. And the last line that I wrote was, right when the flower touches my wounds, and then it's over. I stopped in the middle of the sentence. Biggest cliffhanger I ever read. And they all lived happily ever after. Or do they? So those were some of the old stories that I wrote back when I was a stupid idiot child. So if you're thinking that I'm a terrible writer, you might be right. Like, I say you're like that much right, like my writing can still suck, but I definitely do think I got better. If you would be interested in me doing this again, I do have this one project that I wrote for NaNoWriMo in 2014 when I was like 13 or 14 years old, and it was really, really cringy. It was really, really bad, but if you would be down for me to read that in another video, let me know. If you hate this and you never want me to do it again, make sure to dislike this video down below. Make sure to smash that unsubscribe button. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. I post videos on Tuesday. Yeah, so if you out here and you're thinking about buying either of these books, they are on sale now. You can find them in the description below. Subscribe.